ज्ञानतिवृन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनस्थलाकाय चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपकथामहिं जगति स्वपदान्तिकं वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुश्रीयुतप्तकमलान् श्रीगुरुन् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगणरघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललित श्रीविशाख अन्वितांश्च नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे वंशकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यो च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासरि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Path Prabhu, do
Hare
you want
Krishna.
to read today?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Or was it last week? I think Satish Prabhu covered, right? If I'm not wrong.
Yes, last time it was me, Prabhuji. Krishna.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So for next 6 months, no chance. Um, okay, so I'm sharing the screen. Let me know if you see it. Go to this. Maybe you can read till verse number 20. Yeah, till 20.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 13. Sri Narad Muni said, Sri Narad Muni said, a person able to cultivate spiritual knowledge should renounce all material connections and merely keeping the body inhabitable. He should travel from one place to another, passing only one night in each village. In this way, without dependence in regard to the need of the body, the sannyasis should travel all over the world. A person in the renounced order of life may try to avoid even a dress to cover himself. If he wears anything at all, it should be only a loincloth. And when there is no necessity, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda. A sannyasi should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandalu. The sannyasi completely satisfied in the self should live on alms begged from door to door, not being dependent on any person or any place. He should always be friendly, well-wisher to all living beings, and be a peaceful, unalloyed devotee of Narayana. In this way, he should move from one place to another. The sannyasi should always try to see the Supreme pervading everything and see everything, including this universe, resting on the Supreme. During unconsciousness and consciousness, and between the two, he should try to understand the self and be fully situated in the self. In this way, he should realize that the conditional and liberated stage of life are only illusory and not actually factual. With such a higher understanding, he should see only the absolute truth pervading everything. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. Literature that is a useless waste of time. In other words, literature without spiritual benefit should be rejected. One should not become a professional teacher as a means of earning one's livelihood, nor should one indulge in arguments and counter arguments, nor should one take shelter of any cause or factions. A sannyasi must not present allurement of material benefit to gather many disciples, nor should be unnecessarily read, nor should he unnecessarily read any books or give discourse as a means of livelihood. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. A peaceful, equipoised person who is factually advanced in spiritual consciousness does not need to accept the symbol of sannyasi, such as Tridanda and Kamandalu. According to the necessity, he may sometimes accept those symbols and sometimes reject them. Although a saintly person may not expose himself to the vision of human society, but his purpose is disclosed. To human society, he should present himself like a restless child, and although he is the greatest thoughtful orator, he should present himself like a dumb man. As a historical example of this, learned sages recite the story of an ancient discussion between Prahlad Maharaj and a great saintly person who was feeding himself like a python. Prahlad Maharaj, the most dear servitor of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, once went out touring the universe with some of his confidential associates just to study the nature of saintly person. Thus he arrived at the bank of the Kaveri, where there was a mountain known as Shahaya. There he found a great saintly person who was lying on the ground, covered with dirt and dust, but who was deeply spiritually advanced. Neither by that saintly person's activities, by his bodily feature, by his words, or by the symptoms of his varnashrama status could people understand whether he was the same person they had known. The advanced devotee Prahlad Maharaj duly worshipped and offered obeisances to the saintly person who had adopted a python's means of livelihood. After thus worshipping the saintly person and touching his own head to the saint's lotus feet, Prahlad Maharaj, in order to understand him, inquired very submissively as follows. Seeing the saintly person to be quite fat, Prahlad Maharaj said, "My dear sir, you undergo no endeavor to earn your livelihood, but you have a stout body, exactly like that of a materialistic enjoyer. I know that if one is very rich and has nothing to do, he becomes extremely fat by eating and sleeping and performing no work. O Brahmana, O Brahmana, fully in knowledge of transcendence, you have nothing to do, and therefore you are lying down. It is also understood that you have no money for sense enjoyment. How then has your body become so fat? Under the circumstances, if you do not consider my question impudent, kindly explain how this has happened. Your Honor appears learned, expert, and intelligent in every way. You can speak very well, saying things that are pleasing to the heart. You see that people in general are engaged in fruitive activities, yet you are lying here inactive. Narad Muni continued, when the saintly person was thus questioned by Prahlad Maharaj, the king of the Daityas, he was captivated by the shower of nectarian words. And he replied to the inquisitiveness of the Prahlad Maharaj with a smiling face. Shall I continue, Prabhuji?
We will see. If we finish a bit early, then we could continue. Yeah, maybe we take a pause here.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. Finally, we are discussing about how to be a perfect person. By the way, how was your reading experience?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you for giving me this opportunity. So initially, as Narad Muni said, it's all the qualities of a perfectly elevated saintly person, which is very informative and practical. And the properties, the attribute has to be there in a perfectly saintly person. Later, I don't know why this saintly person Prahlad Maharaj is questioning is who is that and why Python is that. I don't know. Anyway, we'll follow.
I think, yeah. So I think when we go beyond 21 verse, yeah, or when we come till 38, yeah, we will understand. But let's try to understand the connection from the previous chapter and what is it here. Yeah. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayana Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tado Jayamudhirayat. Nashtaprayesha Vadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavata Tama Shloke Bhaktar Bhavati Nashtaki Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopakumaraya Govindaya Namo Namaha. The chapter 13 in the 7th canto is entitled The Behavior of a Perfect Person. So, yeah, the shloka starts with Sri Narada Vacha. Kalpasva evam parivrajya deha matra vaseshitaha gramaika ratra vidina nirapeksha charen mahim. So here this nirapeksha is very, very important. Nirapeksha means without dependency on any material thing. So, Narada Muni is saying a person able to cultivate spiritual knowledge should renounce all material connections and merely keep the body inhabitable. Yeah? He should travel from one place to another, passing only one night in each village. In this way, without dependence in regard to the needs of the body, the sannyasi should travel all over the world. So, when we're talking about perfect person, it can only be sannyas. What about grihasthas? Yeah, they can also be perfect. Yeah. When they realize the ultimate goal of even leading in grihastha life is to always be dependent on Krishna. But here in the description of the chapter, let me see what was that. Yeah, the 13th chapter. Yeah. So in the brief before this verses, there is this description which says, after retiring from family life, one should accept the status of vanaprastha, in which he must formally accept the body as his means of existence, but gradually forget the bodily necessities of life. It means like gradually one should come to a stage that I'm not this body. Okay, if needs are there to be body, just keep it minimal. But after vanaprastha life, having left home, one should travel to different places as a sannyasi. So, without bodily comforts and free from dependencies. And in that regard, this shloka is there. And then, Bibhryad yadi asau vasaha कौपीनाच्छादनं परं त्यक्तं न लिंगाद दंडाधेर anyat kinchit anapati. So, a person in renounced order of life may try to avoid even a dress to cover himself. If he wears anything at all, it should be a lion cloth, like what is it called, kaupin. And a sannyas should never accept a danda. What does that mean? When there is no need, no necessity, a sannyasi should not even accept a danda. Which means we have in ISKCON we have Tridanda sannyasis, and then there is Ekadanda sannyasi for Mayavadis. There is whole description what is the reason behind that, etc. But here we see a statement that Narad Muni is saying a sannyasi should avoid carrying anything but a danda and kamandalu, and that danda also only if needed. And then Eka eva charet bhikshur atma ramo anapashrayah sarvabhuta suhrit chanto narayana parayana. This Narayan Parayan is very important, unalloyed devotee of Narayan. So, the sannyasi completely satisfied in the self should live in on alms, begged from door to door. Not being dependent on any person or any place, he should always be a friendly well-wisher to all living beings and be peaceful, unalloyed devotee of Narayan. So, in this way, he should move from one place to another. पश्येद आत्मनि अधो विश्वं परे सद असद अव्यये आत्मानं च परम ब्रह्म सर्वत्र सद असन मये. A sannyasi should always try to see the supreme pervading everything and see everything, including this universe, resting on the supreme. So, the sannyasi is not just a complete in himself as sannyasi if he does not become a devotee of Lord Narayana. Why? Because just detachment from the clutches of attachment, yeah, is not the solution. The solution is detachment from attachment, which is material, and to reconnect or to attach to the spiritual, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, that is a sannyasi. And then there is mentioned about Supti Prabodhayo Sandhav Atmano Gatim Atmadrik Pasyan Bandham Cha Moksham Cha Maya Matram Cha Vatsu Taha. Vatsutaha, in fact, during unconscious and conscious, during unconsciousness and consciousness, and between the two, he should try to understand the self and be fully situated in the self. Okay, should we? I think anyway it will come again. So, in this way, he should realize that the conditional and liberated stage of life are only illusory and not not actually factual. With such higher understanding, he should see only the absolute truth pervading everything. Prabhupada mentions two things. The unconscious state is nothing but ignorance, darkness, or material existence. Material existence is ignorance or unconscious state, even darkness or ignorance in the same. And in the conscious state, one is awake. The marginal state between unconsciousness and consciousness has no permanent existence. Therefore, one who is advanced in understanding the self should understand that unconsciousness and consciousness are but illusions, for they fundamentally do not exist. What does that mean? So, an advanced devotee, he understands there is nothing uh, like this. Yeah, okay. Should understand that the unconsciousness and consciousness are illusion. To know something and not to know something, both are illusion. What does that mean? Why? Because to have some knowledge which is not necessary knowledge, then it's not real knowledge. So only the supreme absolute truth exists, as confirmed in Bhagavad Gita. Maya datam idam sarvam jagat avyakta murtina matsthani sarva bhutani na chaham teshva avastitaha. By me, in my unmanifested form, this entire universe is pervaded. All beings are in me, but I am not in them. Everything exists on the basis of Krishna's impersonal feature. Nothing can exist without Krishna. Therefore, the advanced devotee of Krishna can see the Lord everywhere without illusion. Nabhinande dhruvam mrityum adhruvam vasya jeevitam kalam param pratiksheta bhutanam prabhavapyayam. Since the material body is sure to be vanquished, and the duration of one's life is not fixed, neither death nor life is to be praised. Rather, one should observe the eternal time factor in which the living entity manifests himself and disappears. In purport, Prabhupada mentions, both are fools and rascals. Who are these both? The living entities in the material world, not only at the present but also in the past, have been involved in trying to solve the problems of birth and death. Some stress, okay, of course, everyone should solve it, but some stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material, whereas others stress life, uh, trying to preserve it perpetually and enjoy it to be best of their ability. So one will say life is important. They stress that importance of life and they want to stay long and so that they can enjoy long and long. No. And others stress death and point to the illusory existence of everything material. Brahma Mithya. Uh, Brahman Satya, Jagat Mithya. Everything is now illusion. There is no existence. You are not you. Yeah, everyone is one. And all these concepts now in that way, death, they see, okay, death is illusion. Now, both of them are fools and rascals. It is advised that one observe the eternal time factor, which is the cause of material bodies, appearance and disappearance, and that one observe the living entity's entanglement in this time factor. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur sings in Gitavali, Anadi Karama Phale Padi Padi Bhavarnava Jale Taribare Na Dekhi Upay. One should observe the activities of eternal time, which is the cause of birth and death. Before the creation of present millennium, living entities were under the influence of time factor, and within the time factor, the material world comes into existence and is again annihilated. Bhutva Bhutva Praliyate. So in this way, this time factor is the impersonal representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead who gives the living entities conditioned by material nature a chance to emerge from this nature by surrendering to Him. And sannyas life is about surrendering. In the verse number 7, Nasat Chatreshu Sajjeta Nopa Jiveta Jivikam Vada Vadams Tyajet Tarkan Pasyam Kam Chana Samshreyat. Kamsa means any. Literature that is a useless waste of time. In other words, literature without spiritual benefit should be rejected. In fact, in the word-to-word translation, it's written as Asat Shastreshu, means literature like newspapers, novels, dramas, and fiction. So one should not become a professional teacher as a means of earning one's livelihood. Nor should one indulge in arguments and counter arguments, nor should one take shelter of any cause or faction. Yeah. Uh, in the purport, Prabhupada refers Srila Madhvacharya's saying, Aprayojana. Prayojana means, something beneficial. Aprayojana means something that is not useful. Aprayojana paksham means taking that side. Na samshrayet. न अप्रयोजन पक्षी स्यान न वृता शिष्य बंधकृत न चोदासी चोदासीनः शास्त्राणि न विरुद्धानि चाभ्यसेत न व्याक व्याख्यापजीवेत न निषिद्धात् समाचरेत. evam bhuta yatir yati tad eka sharano harim. Tad eka sharano is a compound word. Tad eka sharan, tad only, that one shelter, harim is one. The translation of this verse goes, there is no need to take shelter of unnecessary literature or concern oneself with many so-called philosophers and thinkers who are useless for spiritual advancement. Nor should one accept a disciple for the sake of fashion or popularity. One should be callous to these so-called Shastras, neither opposing nor favoring them, and one should not earn one's livelihood by taking money for explaining Shastra. A sannyasi must always be neutral and seek the means to advance in spiritual life, taking full shelter under the lotus feet of the Lord. This is very important. This is one of the mm, message for a devotee or instruction to a devotee is that we should not become a professional reciters. We shouldn't become a professional devotees. What is a professional devotee? It's not like becoming a perfect devotee. Professional devotees means, yeah, you're doing some activity and in expectations, always expecting something in return. I want, what is that here referred? Livelihood. Mm. A devotee should always depend on Krishna, and Krishna will favor everything. It's not like we keep asking, give me donations, give me money, yeah. Or sometimes I think you may have experienced this when you are introducing our projects or our programs that we are doing to others. Like for example, when there is a kids Bhagavatam, yeah, immediately parents, yeah, new parents, they ask, okay, is it paid? Yeah. Or when we are doing a program at some place, they, or if we're saying, okay, we are having these sessions, the question immediately comes, how much does it cost? Why? Because the world is always using these means to make money, and a devotee is not interested unless he is again reusing that whatever money in the service of the Lord. If that is the reason, then he can take some, yeah, but not like in fact, when we were attending this sanskara workshop, Damodar Priya Mataji was mentioning, yeah, a Brahmana is not like a professional who wants to make money. He's not charging, okay, you give me this much. This is what, yeah, you have to give me, and then only I will come and do yajna or sanskaras. No, a Brahmana is, yeah, he is dependent on Krishna. He's engaging in a service that he wants to do. And of course, at the same time, it is also mentioned that one should honor the priest who is conducting with proper donation or proper as dakshina, so that then only the karta, the person who, the owner, he will get the result of it. Otherwise, all the result will go to the priest. But anyway, that's about sanskaras. But even about Bhagavats, we see, I mean, Prabhupada, in fact, there is an occasion where um, Prabhupada was consulted about conducting Bhagavad Saptas. In that context, Prabhupada says, yeah, there are so many professional Bhagavat who are doing this Bhagavad Saptas, Saptah, every place here and there, make money. And no, we should do it. We should do it because not to make money, but to give the right knowledge and also practice it. That's why it's not that we have a nice music or do we have a nice arrangements for everything, and then we charge something for this Bhagavad Saptas. No, we should, I mean, this is what Prabhupada says, Bhagavad Saptas are approved by Prabhupada, one can conduct it, but in ISKCON style. What does that mean? In a style where Katha is in the center, where Kirtan is in the center, not charge and, make a, and yeah, I shouldn't say artificial, make a show. Yeah, like a professional reciters do. Then, न शिष्यान् अनुभनीता ग्रन्थान् नैवाभ्यसेत् बहून् न व्याख्याम् उपयुज्यिता नारम्भान् न आरम्भान् आरम्भेत क्वचित्. In this, the word arambha is, yeah, we know arambha is start. Arambha is also the meaning mentioned in the purport. It comes in the last. Yeah, I'll come there. Before that, it's very important. A sannyasi must not present allurements of material benefits to gather many disciples, nor should he unnecessarily read many books or give discourses as a means of livelihood. So, yeah, even if one has a good appetite of reading, and he can read a whole library, but if, yeah, when he accepts sannyas order of life, it is said uh, he should not, nor he should unnecessarily read many books or give discourses as a means of livelihood. So reading, yeah, of course, if one thinks, oh, I can speak. So if I want to speak, let me read a lot. Why? Because I will get money. No, that should not be done. He must never attempt to increase material opulences unnecessarily. In the purport, Prabhupada says, so-called swamis and yogis generally make disciples by alluring them with material benefits. Yeah, there are many so-called gurus who attract disciples by promising to cure their diseases or increase their material opulence by manufacturing gold. Now you know whom we are referring. There are so many who are like that. These are lucrative allurements for unintelligent men. A sannyasi prohibits from making disciples through such material allurements. Sannyasis sometimes indulge in material opulence by unnecessarily constructing many temples and monasteries. I think there will be a verse later, but here it already starts. Sannyasis sometimes indulge in material opulence by unnecessarily constructing many temples and monasteries, but actually such endeavors should be avoided. Temples and monasteries should be constructed for preaching of spiritual consciousness or Krishna consciousness, not to provide free hotels for persons who are useful for neither material nor spiritual purposes. What does that mean? Temples and monasteries should not be constructed if these are used as a hotels. And should be strictly off. Did I cover? Yeah. Not to provide free hotels for persons who are useful for neither material nor spiritual. What can be else? Either we think it should be material purpose or spiritual purpose. Means any person, if he is not conducive, he is not interested in anything, then uh, temple should not be a resting place. Or he can stay without any goal. Aimless people, no, not for them. Temples and monasteries should be strictly off limits to worthless clubs of crazy men. In Krishna consciousness movement, we welcome everyone who agrees at least to follow these four regulative principles: no meat eating, no intoxication, no illicit sex, no gambling. In the temples and monasteries, gatherings of unnecessary, rejected, lazy fools should be strictly disallowed. Very important. The temples and monasteries should be used exclusively by devotees who are serious about spiritual advancement in Krishna consciousness. So the temple's purpose is to develop this seriousness in advancing in spiritual consciousness. And then Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains the word Arambhan as meaning Matadi Vyaparan. Vyapara means business, mata and adi and all. So, which means attempts to construct temples and monasteries. The first business of sannyasi is to preach Krishna consciousness. But if by the grace of Krishna facilities are available, then he may construct temples and monasteries to give such shelter to serious students of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, such temples and monasteries are not needed. So temples are mainly for the full-time devotees, but these are full-time devotees who are dedicated, who want to advance, who are very, very serious students of Krishna consciousness, which means every day hearing Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, reading Chaitanya Charitamrita, and all these things should be part of a temple devotee's life. And then the temple can become a shelter. What about non-temple devotees, like congregational devotees? Yeah, they also have to become serious students. But okay, yeah, they have a shelter of their own in the form of a home, but that's okay. One should one should engage in properly understanding the need of a temple. Temple's duty should serve. I mean, anyway, next purports will also explain further. Then we will cover a bit later. So in the verse 9, na yater ashrama prayo dharma hetur mahatmanah shantasya samachittasya bibhradyad uta va tyajet. Reject them. What should be then? So now it's very important. A peaceful, equipoised person who is factually advanced in Krishna, in spiritual consciousness, does not need to accept symbols of a sannyasi such as Tridandi and Kamandal. According to the necessity, he may sometimes accept those symbols and sometimes reject them. I want to use the opportunity if I can find it. Let me check. How many of you know already Dandabanga Leela of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Let me see which chapter is that. Hmm, 1 second. It is in the fifth Madhya Leela, fifth chapter. Do let me know if you see the screen. Not yet, huh? No?
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. I will start a bit. By the way, tomorrow is, I think, tomorrow is Vrindavan Das Thakur's disappearance day. Wow. So, let's read from here. Bengali Babu, you want to read?
Yes, Prabhuji. ভুবনেশ্বর পথে চাইছে কইলে দর্শন বিস্তারি বর্ণিয়াছে দাস বৃন্দাবন.
Okay, we want to read the purport would be longer, but anyway, start.
In this book, Chaitanya Bhagavata, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has very vividly described the places visited by the Lord on the way to Bhubaneswar.
Yeah. Purport also is nice. Please read.
In this book, Chaitanya Bhagavata, Antyakanda, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has very nicely described the Lord's journey en route to Kataka. On that journey, the Lord visited a place known as Balihasta or Balakatichati. He then visited the city of Bhubaneswar, where Lord Shiva's temple is located. The temple of Bhubaneswar is situated about 5 to 6 miles from Balakatichati. The temple of Lord Shiva is mentioned in the Skanda Purana in the narration about the Lord's garden and the one mango tree. A king named Kashiraja wanted to fight with Lord Krishna, and consequently he took shelter of Lord Shiva to acquire the power to fight the Lord. Being pleased with his worship, Lord Shiva helped him fight Krishna. Lord Shiva's name is Ashutosha, which indicates that he is very easily satisfied when one worships him, regardless of the purpose, and he gives his devotee whatever benediction the devotee wants. Therefore, the people are generally very fond of worshipping Lord Shiva. Thus, Kashiraja was helped by Lord Shiva, but in the fight with Lord Krishna, he was not only defeated but killed. In this way, the weapon known as Pashupata Astra,
Pashupatastra.
Pashupata
Hmm.
Astra was baffled, and Krishna set fire on the city of Kashi. Later, Lord Shiva became conscious of his mistake in helping Kashi Raja, and he begged Lord Krishna's forgiveness. As a benediction from Krishna, he received a place known as Ekamra Kanana. Later, the king of the Keshari dynasty established their capital there, and for many hundreds of years they reigned over the state of Orissa.
Yeah, thank you. Actually, this is not directly connected to what we will be reading, but this gives the context of when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was traversing, he came to Bhuvaneshwar, and in Bhuvaneshwar, there is a very famous temple of Lord Shiva, and why it is, this is giving the background. Yeah. And I think from next verse, unless I think, yeah, I think if we read purports, it would take longer. I'll try to pause where we need that, and we will for now go with the text. Okay, please go on. Or where are we? 40, I think. Yeah, from here.
Shall I read translation for you?
Yeah, I mean, both are fine.
कमलपुरे आसी भर्गी नदी स्नाक कैल
Snan,
नित्यानंद स्नाक कैल
no,
नित्यानंद
Snan
स्नान
kai.
कैल okay. Yeah. नित्यानंद हते प्रभु दंड धरिला. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at Kamalpura, he took his bath in the Bhargi Nadi river and left his sannyasa staff in the hand of Lord Nityananda. कपोतेश्वर देखिते गेला भक्तगण संगे एथा नित्यानंद प्रभु कैला दंड भंगे तीना खंड करी दंड दिला भाषण भक्त संगे आइला प्रभु महेश देखिना. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to the temple of Lord Shiva, known as Kapateshwara, Nityananda Prabhu, who was keeping his sannyasa staff in custody, broke the staff in three parts and threw it into the river Bhargi Nadi. Later, this river became known as Dandabhanga Nadi. Jagannathera देखी अभिष्ट हईला दंडवत करी प्रेमे नाचिते लागिला. After seeing the temple of Lord Jagannath from a distant place, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu immediately became ecstatic. After offering obeisance to the temple, he began to dance in the ecstatic love of God. Bhaktagana अभिष्ट हन सबे नाचे गया प्रेम भासे प्रभु संगे राजा मार्गे आया याया. All the devotees become ecstatic in the association of Lord Chaitanya and thus absorbed in the love of God. They were dancing, singing while going along the main road. Hase kande nache Prabhu, Humkara Garjana, Tina Krosha Pathe Hoila, Sahasra Yojana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu laughed, cried, danced, and made many ecstatic vibration and sound. Although the temple was only 6 miles away, to him the distance seemed thousands miles. Chalite chalite Prabhu aila Artharnala, Atharnala, Tahan asi Prabhu Kichu, Bahaya Prakashila. Thus, walking and walking, the Lord eventually arrived at the place known as Atharnala. Arriving there, he expressed his external consciousness, speaking to Sri Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda kahe Prabhu, Deha mora danda, Nityananda bole, danda hoila tina khanda. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had thus regained external consciousness, he asked Lord Nityananda Prabhu, please return my stuff.
Maybe someone else from 149. Someone else want to read? Yeah, thanks, Patro.
Should I try, Prabhuji?
Yeah, let's check your Bengal.
प्रेमा विषय पडिला तुमी तोमारा धरिनु तोमा सह साई danda pare padinu. Nityananda Prabhu said, when you fell down in ecstasy, I caught you, but both of us together fell upon the stuff. Dui janara bhare danda, khanda khanda hoila, sai khanda kanha padila, kichu na janila. Thus the stuff broke under our weight. Where the pieces have gone, I cannot say. Mora aparadha tomara danda hahila khanda, ye uchita haya mora kara tara danda. It is certainly because of my offense that your stuff was broken. Now you can punish me on this account as you think proper. Suni kichu Mahaprabhu, dukha prakashila, Ishad krodha kari kichu kahita lagila. After hearing the story about how his staff had been broken, the Lord expressed a little sadness and, displaying a bit of anger, began to speak as follows. Nila chale ani mora, sabe hita kaila, sabe danda dhana chila, taha na rakhila. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, you have all benefited me by bringing me to Neelachala. However, me and me, however, my only possession was that one staff, and you have not kept it. Tumi saba, tumi saba, आगे यह ईश्वर देही देखी देखिते किबा आमी एजयई na yaba sahite. So all of you should go before or behind me to see Lord Jagannath. I shall not go with you. मुकुंद दत्ता कहे प्रभु तुम्ही यहाँ आगे आमी सबा पाछे याब ना याब तुम्हारा संगे. Mukunda Datta told Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, my lord, you should go ahead and allow all the others to follow. We shall not go with you. Eta shuni prabho aga chalila shigaragati bhujita
Shigragati.
shigragati बुझीते ना पारे केह दुई पबूरा मति. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then began to walk very swiftly before all the other devotees. No one could understand the real purpose of the two lords, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu.
Two more verses.
इन्हो केने दंडा भांगे, तेन्हो केने भांगायो, भांगाना क्रोधा, तेन्हो इन्हाके दोषाया. The devotees could not understand why Nityananda Prabhu broke the staff, why Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu permitted him to do so, or why after permitting him, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became angry. Danda bhange leela ei, parama gambhira, sai bujhe dunhara pade, yanira bhakti dhira. The pastimes of the breaking of the staff is very deep. Only one whose devotion is fixed upon the lotus feet of the two lords can understand it.
Thank you, Radharasa Prabhu. This is very, very nice pastime. I don't know in which purport could we pick up, but yeah, I can give a summary of what happened. Yeah, we are reading from 140, right? So then, yeah, if you see in the purport 42 to 43, you see the mystery of sannyas danda of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has been explained by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the order of sannyas from a Mayavad sannyas. And as part of a Mayavad sannyas, one gets a staff, a danda. But Nityananda Prabhu, he didn't like it. He knows that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is the supreme personality of Godhead himself, and why he has to hold a danda. It's not. Of course, everyone in at that time they were appreciating because a sannyas is recognized by a danda. So so Nityananda Prabhu, who is an Avadhuta, also means that what he does is not so easy to understand. So once what happened is when the after the early days of initiation, sannyas initiation, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was traveling. He came to this special temple of Lord Shiva. Ekamra Kanana. Kanana is a garden. Ekamra is Lord Shiva's name. And as I think Patro, you are reading, that was the history, why this temple was there. And it's mentioned in the Skanda Puran. Along this temple, there is a river. And Bhargi Nadi. And this temple, this river, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he came to this temple, he was dancing for the whole night. And anyway, that again, the Leela is elaborate, but amazing. Then, so what happened is when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to take a holy dip in the river, he gave the danda to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu took this opportunity, and anyway, let's go through the purport. Here it says, broke the staff into three parts and threw it into the river later known as Dandabhangi Nadi. Even now, there is this special river, that part which is named as Dandabhangi Nadi. In the sannyas order, there are four divisions. One is Kutichaka, one is Bahudaka, and Hamsa and Paramahamsa. And here the word Hamsa, usually in other references we see Kutichaka means one who is living in a hut and leading a sannyas life, which means one who has just recently took sannyas, who was already either a grihastha or a brahmachari who has accepted the sannyas order. He lives in a village, but he doesn't cook. He doesn't lit a fire in his kitchen, nothing. He's just, everyone is, he goes from door to door, and whatever comes that he manages his livelihood like that. Then the next is Bahu Daka is a sannyas order where the person or the sannyas or the saint is living outside the village, yeah, in a solitary place, and he is supplied food by the villagers. They come, they visit. When they visit, they give something, and that's how his livelihood is maintained. And the third one is called Prajavakacharya. Hmm? One who is traveling from village to village in the spirit of only spreading Krishna consciousness or preaching. Yeah, and here in the next line it said only when the sannyas remains on the Kutichaka and Bahudaka platforms can he carry a staff. However, when one is elevated to the sanya status of Hamsa or Paramahamsa after touring and preaching the Bhakti cult, he must give up the sannyas staff. So in this Leela, what happened is because Nityananda Prabhu did not want that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is seen like that. Yeah, oh, come on, he's highly elevated than all these. So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Sri Krishna. It is therefore said Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahe Anya. There is no difference between two personalities, Sri Radharani and Krishna are combined in the incarnation of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, considering Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to be an extraordinary person, Nityananda Prabhu did not wait for the Paramahamsa stage. It's not like, oh, no. He reasoned that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is automatically on the Paramahamsa stage. Therefore, he did not need to carry the sannyas dand. This is the reason Sri Nityananda Prabhu broke the staff into three pieces and threw it into the water. I'm not recollecting why three pieces, but at least, yeah, I might be there is some reason why. But anyway, he threw it into the water, and then whatever further read was there. The word Duila, when Partha Prabhu you were reading, you missed this word. The word Duila refers to the temple where the Supreme Personality of God is situated. There, the present temple of Jagannath Puri was constructed by King Ananga Bhima. But what at that time Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw was a different temple. Historians say this temple must have been constructed at least 2000 years ago. During the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the small building surrounding the original temple has not been constructed, nor was the high platform in front of the temple present during the time of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anyway, going further, the emphasis here, what happens is it becomes funny when we go to the last parts. Where is that? Yes. After hearing the story about how his staff has been broken, Lord expressed a little sadness. So, you know what? Nityananda Prabhu has intentionally broke this because he could not see uh, how the Lord uh, uh, it befits that he carries a danda. Though of course he took sannyas and that too from a Mayavada. So he didn't like it and that's why he did it. But he didn't tell that. He rather told, you know what, I think, I mean, he told that when we were uh, taking bath, in that time this staff broke into pieces. So now in the purport we see Sri Nityananda Prabhu considered Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's acceptance of sannyas to be useless. He therefore relieved the Lord of troubling of carrying the staff. If Chaitanya Mahaprabhu out of humility he will not break it. Rather, he would just carry, but it is a burden. Why he has to carry? So Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expressed anger because he wanted to teach all other sannyasis that they should not give up the staff before attaining the platform of Paramahamsa. Seeing that the regulative principles could be slackened by such action, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to carry the staff personally. Yeah, he has a purpose. But what Nityananda Prabhu did, he broke it. For this reason, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed a little anger. In Bhagavad Gita, Yadyat Acharati Shrestha Tattat Eve Tarojana. Whatever great people do, others follow. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu want to establish, unless one comes to Paramahamsa stage, one still has to carry danda. नीलाचले ani more sabe hina kaila sabe danda dana chila tahe na rakhila. Rakhila, not kept. My only Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I mean, from external, he is saying, my only possession was that one staff, and you have not kept it. He became very, you have all benefited me by bringing me to Nilachal, but what you have done is not pleasing. And then comes this last, where is that? Danda Bhanga Leela Parama Gambhira. Gambhira, very deep secret or deeper message. Sai Buje Dunhara Pade Yandra Bhakti Dhira. Here, the Leelas of Chaitanya, I mean, one may be able to understand Bhagavad Gita, one may able to, with some more effort, can understand the Leelas of the Lord in Bhagavatam. To understand the Leelas of the Lord, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, one should be absolutely blessed. Otherwise, it's not possible to understand. This Leelas. One who understands Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu in reality can understand their identity as well as the breaking of the staff. All the previous acharyas, being induced to engage themselves fully in service of the Lord, gave up attachment for material life and thus accepted the staff, which signifies full engagement of the mind. Why Tridanda? This danda means staff. Three is to engagement of mind, speech, and body in the service of Lord. So a sannyas is carrying this danda. He is saying, "This is my dependence." To remind himself that I am going to engage my mind, speech, and body in the service of the Lord. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted the regulative principles of the renounced order of life. That is completely clear. However, in the Paramahamsa stage, there is no need to accept the danda, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was certainly in the Paramahamsa stage. Nonetheless, to indicate that everyone should take sannyas at the end of life in order to engage fully in service of the Lord, even Paramahamsas like Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his confidential devotees follow regulative principles unfailingly. Which means one cannot say, I can be, now I have this bhav, I have these feelings, I have these emotions, I have this love and all. No, still following regulative. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself was demonstrating. Indeed, that was his purpose. Nityananda Prabhu, who was his eternal servitor, believed that was no need for Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to carry the staff and to declare the world that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was above all these regulations. He broke it into three pieces. The pastime known as Dandabhanga Leela is thus explained by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Anyway, somehow this came to my mind to discuss this, to share this. I think you may already know this, definitely. And what is the punishment? Actually, the punishment, what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, he is very disappointed with Nityananda Prabhu. Why? Because whatever Nityananda Prabhu was saying, it broke by accident and etc. etc. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu knew why did Nityananda Prabhu do this. From within, he was very happy, because Nityananda Prabhu is not different from Balaram, and how in the mood of servant, in the mood of brother, in both the ways, he's dealing this so nicely that as if not to hurt Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, but externally, he want to be in this mood of humility to show, oh, I've got disappointed. After all, this is only one stick I have. It's not like a golf court. We have so many sticks there. No, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expects externally these symptoms, but internally it is said that he was very happy, and that's why he was saying, "You all have benefited me a lot, but I'm not happy." So you know what? Now either you go in the front or you go behind me, and I'm not going to walk with you, or you. So, and then of course all the followers, they said, no, no, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, you go ahead and we will follow you. Anyway, I've just tried to swiftly go through this Leela because somehow it fits to our sannyas order topic, right? Yeah, now we go back to our own. So the first business of sannyasi is to preach Krishna consciousness, but if by the grace of Krishna facilities are available, then he may construct temples and monasteries to give shelter to the serious students of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, such temples and monasteries are not needed. And I think we covered this Paramahamsa, verse number 9. Yes. According to the necessity, he may sometimes accept those symbols and sometimes reject. I think we will come to in this purport. Yes. Um, yes, this is also very important in the verse number 9 purport. Second half, it is said, for Paramahamsas or sannyasis in the Vaishnava order, preaching is the first duty. To preach, such sannyasis may accept the symbols of sannyas, such as danda and kamandalu, or sometimes may not. They may not. Generally, the Vaishnava sannyasis, being Paramahamsas, are automatically called Babajis, and they do not carry a kamandalu or danda. Such a sannyasi is free to accept or reject the marks of sannyas. His only thought is, where is there an opportunity to spread Krishna consciousness? Sometimes the Krishna consciousness movement sends its representative sannyasis to foreign countries where the danda and kamandalu are not very much appreciated. We send our preachers in ordinary dress to introduce our books and philosophy. Our only concern is to attract people to Krishna consciousness. We may do this in the dress of sannyasi or in the regular dress of gentleman. Our only concern is to spread interest in Krishna consciousness. Going further, although a sannyasi, अव्यक्त लिंग व्यक्तार्थो मनीष उन्मत्त बालवत् कबीर मूकवद आत्मानं सदृष्ट्या दर्शयेन नृणाम. Although a saintly person may not expose himself to the vision of human society, by his behavior his purpose is disclosed. To human society he should present himself like a restless child, and although he is the greatest thoughtful orator, he should present himself like a dumb man. So, this is what a sannyasi is. Actually, it is said a sannyasi is dead to the society. Means, as soon as, I mean, ideally, I don't know how it is done in the Western world. Usually, if someone is a sannyasi, he should not be asked, oh, no, uh, you have to pay taxes, you have to do this, you have to that. Typically, there are certain provisions which says a sannyasi, when he's getting charities, it should not be taxed like any other karmis. Although a saintly person may not expose himself to the vision of a human society, by his behavior, his purpose is disclosed. So, a sannyas, by what he is doing, usually um, in India, we see sannyasis are not so easily coming and giving darshans. Ideally, yes, but it should not be because they want to show that, okay, they put a charge. In the case of in Bangalore, there is this Kalki Bhagwan who says, I am Bhagwan. To have my darshan, you have to pay this much. To see me, you have to. So, no, behavior, by his behavior, his purpose is disclosed. To human society, he should present himself like a restless child. Restless child means what? In the purport Prabhupada says, a great personality very much advanced in Krishna consciousness, may not expose himself by signs of a sannyasi. To cover himself, he may live like a restless child or a dumb person, although he is the greatest orator or a poet. Hmm. अत्रापि उदाहरन्तीमम् इतिहासं पुरातनं प्रह्लादस्य च संवादं मुनेर् आजग आजगरस्य च आजगरस्य actually ajagar what is ajagar python no? Ajagarasya, yeah, like Bharata. Yeah? So Ajagarasya means who took the profession of a python. What is the profession of python? Python doesn't go and hunt for food. Rather, it will wait for food to come that it will hunt and eat. That is what is Ajagar. Ajagar Vrata. That is a Vrata where Avadhutas follow. As a historical example of this, learned sages recite the story of an ancient discussion between Prahlad Maharaj and a great saintly person who was feeding himself like a python. In the Prabhupada says, the saintly person met by Prahlad Maharaj was undergoing Ajagara Vritti, uh, the living condition of a python, which does not go anywhere but sits in one place for years and eats whatever is automatically available. Prahlad Maharaj, along with his associates, met this great saint and spoke to him as follows. I think we will cover from verse 12 with the in the next week along with the remaining shlokas, if that's okay. Hmm? Bharat Prabhu, see, so much is there in this 10 verses that you read.
Yes, Prabhuji, it is very dense in information and also knowledge. I had few doubt, but as you went along the chapter and also connected with the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Dandavanga Lila, something got cleared.
Hmm.
Like
Nice.
initially by Narad Muni's narrations, I was thinking like he was mostly inclined with the impersonal
Sannyasis. One
sannyasis.
of the purports I think I didn't cover. I think it will come when Prahlad Maharaj is going to discuss with this Brahmana. Yeah, he is very fat and stout. So in that context, I think next week again we will spend some more time. Another Leela will happen. We will discuss from Chaitanya Charitamrita, where Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there is a sannyas who thinks, hey, see these all Vaishnavas, na, they eat too much. So we will cover that Leela that time.
Yes, Prabhuji. Thank you. And one more thing also. So as in Bhagavatam, it is saying that Narad Muni also emphasizing there is no need to carry a danda, but we have seen that many sannyasis in ISKCON as well, they are carrying a danda. So there was something was conflicting, like why it's contradicting. But as you mentioned, with this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's Leela, so it's clear that unless someone is elevating to the Paramahansa level, so they should not be abandoning danda.
Yeah. And even if they are there, they are following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that okay, yeah, we hold the danda, yeah, because to show out of humility that we are not that stage, yeah.
Mhm.
And next thing is also as a role models for generations, where sannyas order, sannyas ashram prevails, yeah.
Mm. Yes, Prabhuji,
Yeah.
thank you. So,
Yeah.
Prabhuji, these three danda signifies these three mode of material nature, right? I mean, they are
No, body, mind, and speech.
body, mind, and speech.
There is one elaborate purport. I have to find which one it is, which explains about this, as well as it will explain about why we call 108, no? Hmm? Jai Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivajakaacharya Ashtottara Satasri. When we are saying Ashtottara, this 108, what is that is also mentioned. And what is Parivajakaacharya is mentioned. So each of these have a designation, meaning. Yeah, I have to find. I mean, I'm quite, oh, these are very nice to remember, but I am very poor at bookkeeping, finding, indexing and all these things. That was also one of my desires in the past, that to create a heat. What do you call this? Heat map? Yeah, anyone knows this heat maps? No? Okay.
Yes, Prabhuji.
So,
Yes.
yeah. So to kind of, have these heat maps where while I'm reading, or anyone, they can also do this, like whenever you read, you come across something, you just put it there and it will help you to index it, and whenever you want to refer it, like that. Anyway, good. Then thank you very much, and see you at least latest tomorrow. Yeah. पंचाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्भागवतम की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हिताय गौर प्रेम। हरे कृष्ण।